This message has no affiliation with the Department of War. Good evening, everyone. Stay with us tonight as we welcome in the President of the American Education Technologies. This is the Martin Memo. The Martin Memo. All right, well, welcome on. It's great to have you. What's it been now, 3-4 years?
Yeah, probably. About that.
So for those of you who don't know, I actually got the privilege of meeting Mr. Stewart here in basic training, and then as well as AIT. We have the same MOSs. I just went active duty, and then you went, what was it, Reserves or National Guard?
National Guard.
National Guard.
Yep.
There you go. So, well, first of all, welcome to the show. So for our listeners who might not know who you are yet, can you start by telling us a little bit about your background and what sparked your ideas for the American Education Technologies?
Well, my background, I have I've done a lot of different jobs. I've worked in the nuclear power industry, and then obviously we met in basic training in AIT, both Seaburn, and so I dabbled in that. My father was an inventor, and so I had that inventive mindset all the time, trying to find solutions to problems. And that's where I started thinking, well, what are the biggest problems facing America right now? And AI was one of them, and education. And the effects that AI can have on education are pretty significant. So I really started tackling that problem probably 3-4 years ago. And so I just did a deep dive in how does it work? What is it? And what are its effects on people's ability to learn, and that's when I started realizing AI plagiarism was a huge issue. And then just integrity in general is a huge issue in education in America right now. So people want an easy way to pass their exams, pass their term papers and all of that. And it seems like more and more it's easier to just have AI generate a paper for you. So that was a major issue. And overall, my concept was, how do we make education more American? I want people to be able to learn like the founding fathers learned. They had a vast library, personal library. Most of them didn't, if they did attend college, they didn't graduate college. You had Benjamin Franklin, who was considered a renowned scientist, did not graduate college. I don't think he attended college at all. I may be wrong, but he ended up getting an honorary doctorate degree because of his contributions to science. So I want Americans to be able to do that. So if you are capable of doing something, easily get credentials so that you've proven that you're capable. But a big hurdle to that was this ability to utilize AI and plagiarize your credentials, and cheat your way to prove that you know something. And that just, to me, that was a big hurdle that we had to tackle before we could step onto our major goal.
Absolutely. We've all seen these headlines about kids using AI like ChatGPT to crank out essays overnight. It's like handing them a cheat code, kind of like you suggested earlier. Yep. From your perspective, how bad do you think the AI plagiarism issue is right now in American schools, and why is it eroding the hard work ethic that us conservatives hold dear?
Well, I think the biggest issue with it is it's so easy to access. I think you see the largest effects in high schools. Obviously, students are using it in college. But the biggest effects, I think, are going to be in high schools when you're learning how to do research. You're learning those basic research skills. And if you're not struggling, if you're not wrestling with ideas, that's what an essay is all about. You need to struggle through it. You need to wrestle with those ideas, be able to generate your own thought. But then ChatGPT or other AIs come along and make it easy for people to generate a paper and just pass that essay. And, teachers don't have the time to run all of these papers through a detection software. That's why we had to develop a preventative measure. Our focus was this needs to be stopped before the crime even happens.
Without spilling any trade secrets, can you walk us through how it detects and stops AI cheating in a way that's fair to honest students as well as teachers?
Well, the biggest thing is you cannot copy paste anything into our program unless it's internal within the program. So if you're taking notes for your class, you take your notes in our program and you can copy and paste those into your paper. You can copy and paste citations, and you can look up your citations through our program. So you can do your research in the program, but anything external cannot be copy and pasted. So that's a major deterrent right there. And our biggest tool is accountability. Professors can see how the paper is going. So if you tell the professor, hey, I've been working on this, professor can go into the program and look at your progress. If there's nothing written down, he can see that.
So this brings us up to our next point, and you go further by saying AI will never reach true AGI. What makes you so confident from a conservative lens, and how does chasing this myth distract us from real solutions like strengthening family-led education?
Well, I think the big thing to understand about AI is the fact that it requires a large data set in order to train it. So
Right.
you can only train it based upon everything that humans know currently. And right now it has access to pretty much all of the internet. So we're closely reaching the peak in its capabilities. And what we're going to see is we're going to see more kind of like smoke and mirrors tactics in order to get us to believe that AI is reaching the AGI level. You're going to have more focus on personal interaction and human interaction and how it communicates with you. And it's going to convince people, that, oh, yeah, I'm talking with an intelligent human being, but really it's still the same tool that it always was. It's excellent for accessing vast amounts of data and accessing it quickly and being able to compute that data really quickly. And that's why it's excellent to use it as the tool that it is, but understand it is not going to reach that point of AGI. I see like the new updates that companies are coming out with, and it's almost like, have you seen those mediums or something that used to be on TV where they would talk about how they're able to talk to your dead grandmother or something like that, and they'd be like, if there's somebody in the audience, your grandmother's here or whatever, and the person will go, oh yeah, my grandmother just passed away or whatever, and they're like, yes, she's here, and they're using those kind of tactics to manipulate you and think that they're actually communicating with your dead grandmother. We know that's fake, and they're just using those kind of tactics and that psychological manipulation to convince you that, oh, I'm talking to an intelligent AI. Yeah, wow, this is amazing. It knows how to talk to me just like a human being. And so they're going to keep using more and more tactics like that to convince us that this is a superior being. And it's just not the case. Yes, it can utilize the internet to access data really quick and condense it down for you. And that's a great tool. And we just need to understand that that's how you use this tool. And if we use it for what it is, it's going to be great for the economy. It's going to be great for individual research and learning, and understanding its place in society is going to be necessary moving forward.
Absolutely. And you said that you believe AI can be excellent if handled right. In a classroom setting, what are some practical, non-cheaty ways that teachers could use it to actually enhance learning without turning education into a Silicon Valley experiment?
Well, like you can use it for helping generate lesson plans and stuff like that and giving you some ideas.
Yep.
Like I don't see anything wrong with that. Helping you generate cute little videos that demonstrate certain things, that you're trying to teach your students, stuff like that. PowerPoints, there's so many excellent ways you can use it, but just understand like the ethical implications of how you're using it. And this is where having a society of individuals that are wise is going to be so important in the future. Wisdom is going to be the commodity of the future with AI. And I say that, and it's like aiming for the stars, oh, we're going to need a lot of wise individuals. I think it's possible. That's what our country was designed to be, every citizen seeking wisdom at all times. Just seek it, figure out how to practically apply good principles to your life. And that's going to guide us in this AI future.
Absolutely. And I want to touch on something that you had said earlier and then also combine it from what I was reading on your website. So your site's tagline, I think, is very well said. It is, "For the sake of our future, we need to change how we do education." So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but what does a more American education system look like to you? And how is it rooted in our founding principles, local control, and also rejecting the woke agenda that is everywhere within our school system?
Well, I think if you look back, we can see now that there's pretty much been a communist infiltration of our education system, to say the least.
Yeah.
At least communist ideas. And the way we fix our education system is bringing back those original principles of our founding nation. I believe America was a Christian nation from the beginning, and those Christian principles were instilled in our founding documents. And bringing those principles back into our everyday life, into our education system, I think that's very important. And the way you reverse the damage that has been done is redoing how we look at education. And, the homeschool movement is excellent. I love seeing more and more parents homeschooling. We homeschool. I've seen the improvements in my kids and their thirst for knowledge. And I'm able to bring the Bible every single day in their lives. I'm able to teach them that. And, that was something that was every day in the lives of our founders. When they were thinking of setting up this nation, the Bible was in their minds, the entire way.
Yeah.
And, there's people that are going to debate that, and I've had those debates, but I think that, the evidence is overwhelming of that. And that's part of bringing those founding principles back into society. It's building up that wisdom base. And the Bible has proven over and over throughout history that it is the best source of wisdom.
Amen. A funny story on this that I think is worth sharing is, so I recently became an NCO within the U.S. Army, and my grandma's boyfriend, he comes up to me and he says, congrats on becoming a leader. Here's the best tool that you can have on you as a leader. And he hands me this beautiful King James leather-backed Bible, and he said, this is like the best tool that you can use as a leader. Just kind of exactly what you said there, and I agree. And now I've been reading roughly about 3 chapters every day, just kind of submersing myself within that and trying to become a better leader through it. So I think it's worked out great.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where you get the basic principles of leadership, self-sacrifice, all of that. It's the major source of wisdom for Western society.
Then I want to hit on another thing that you had said, and I knew it was bad as far as our kids being indoctrinated within the school system, but something that really stuck out to me, I know there was a lot of people that they were posting kind of on social media about like these individuals celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, which was absolutely horrific. And it almost felt like 75, maybe 90% of these individuals were teachers. And I think that just goes to show how bad our education system is and what are our kids being taught at this point. It's just very, very sad to see that plastered all over the internet.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, that goes back to that infiltration of the education system. I think Senator McCarthy was right when he said that communists were infiltrating major parts of our government and our education systems and all of that, and he became a joke. But now we're realizing, that we we ran that guy through the ringer for actually telling the truth and trying to expose it. And we're seeing the fruits of that now. The people that were, like in the 1960s, you had the hippie era. They ended up continuing on in their education and becoming educators. And we're seeing the fruits of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah. I mean, I experienced it firsthand. I went to my cousin's graduation about a year ago, and I had seen one of the professors wear a I don't know the technical term, but it was a Hamas flag around them as they're graduating, as they're shaking all the students who graduated. They're wearing their Hamas again. I'm blanking on the word, but I'm like, that's insane that we're openly advertising for another country whose mission would be to destroy every American if they could. They call us the Great Satan, and we're advertising for them in our college campuses. So that just, again, further proves what is going on in this world and how these students and facilities are indoctrinated. So, but one thing I do want to move going forward is, as conservatives, we are big on parents knowing best. How can tools like yours empower families to fight against school systems that might be too cozy with big tech or even using AI for ideological indoctrination?
Well, I think one of the biggest things with our tools is we're focusing on fixing the infrastructure that we have now, bringing integrity back to the education system that we currently have through our AI plagiarism blocking software, and then also changing the credentialing process so that people who actually know how to do something, no matter how they learn it, it doesn't matter how you learn it, how you pick it up, so this would really aid, homeschoolers who are coming up and wanting to get into the job market. They're able to prove, hey, I learned how to use a bandsaw and weld at home with my parents, and I can go through some tests and show that I have some basic knowledge of it. And then when they show up on the job site, they can do some weld tests and prove to their employer that they know how to do it, and this applies to various things. So I think that being able to get back to where understanding that Americans need to be able to just start doing, we need to have that mindset again. It's like, I know how to do it. Let me get my hands dirty. And that's what we need right now in the workforce. There's a lot of people out there that are skilled and they're not able to get into the workforce because they don't have credentials. And so that barrier, I think, is what's going to fix things, eliminating that barrier to entry. And taking those barriers down is going to open up so much for people's ability to get into the workforce and just start working, start doing. And that's how you make America great again, right there.
I love it. I love it. So looking ahead, what other AI pitfalls do you see happening, whether it's in education or just overall? Are you one of the people that believe in Terminator style, or what's your kind of vision? Do you see any big pitfalls coming up?
Well, I mean, obviously, the AI has major implications in its use in warfare and stuff like that. There's no doubt because it is a data processing tool and it can easily process data and condense that and make it to where it's easier for commanders or anybody or the enemy to understand. So I do see that as being a major pitfall in the future. As far as AI taking over and taking people's jobs, I think you're going to see a huge change in the workforce and how people handle using AI as a tool. But I think if people learn how to work with it, it's going to increase productivity. And then the big thing is getting manufacturers and companies to understand its pitfalls and its limitations, to where you can't just let AI take over people's jobs because it's got to be babysat. Like you can't just trust it. It's something created by humans, and therefore our flaws are part of its design. So it's going to be flawed. So it needs to be babysat. And if you really want to increase production with AI, you need humans to work with it.
For our parents tuning in and are frustrated with the kids, schools going soft on cheating, or teachers feeling overwhelmed, what's one piece of advice you'd give them today to reclaim the control within their kids' lives?
Well, one of the things that I think parents and teachers and the entire education system right now is overwhelmed is what makes them overwhelmed is the fact that they think we can't do anything about it. They think there's nothing that we can do to stop this cheating. We're just going to have to embrace it. And there's a lot of people out there that, in a lot of school systems that are just like, well, it's out there. We can't do anything to stop it. And that's one of the things that I wanted to prove with the founding of our company is, no, there's a simple way to stop it. and we can stop it at its source and prevent this cheating from happening and keep integrity in our school system. So there's ways to stop it. And I think that will make parents and educators understand, like, okay, we can stop it. We do have control of this situation.
100%. Well, before we wrap up here on this segment, how close are you to being 100% optional, or are you already? And then where can people find more about you and the business?
Well, you can learn about us at americaneducationtechnologies.com. We are currently seeking funding. So we have our test software built. So our test software has shown that we can block AI, and that was a huge hurdle and proof of concept, and we have that. That was, a big thing to do. We just started in January of this year. And so our test software actually successfully blocked it and shown that our accountability software works, so the professors can keep an eye on the progress of a student's work and all of that. Right now, we're at the point of needing funding so that we can build a full-fledged version of this software and get it on the market.
Yeah, absolutely. We will make sure that we put in the link in the bottom. You can visit the link down below in our description, as well as if it's on YouTube, we'll have a little thumbnail or something as well, so you can find more information on the wonderful business that they are creating. I do want to switch gears here. We're not completely done with the podcast yet, but you mentioned that you have a background in nuclear technology. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So we've had some discussions about it in the past, but as far as nuclear technology, where do you feel like the U.S. stands as far as energy, and do you feel like building more reactors would be beneficial for the U.S. as we are kind of going into a little bit of I would say, an energy crisis within America? What would you say to that?
Well, I would say build more reactors. I mean, we have plenty of existing sites that reactors can be built on. We have new technologies such as small modular reactors out there. There's a lot of companies coming out with those, and those are excellent. That opens up where reactors can be built because they can be transported on the back of a semi-trailer. So it's easier to put a reactor in different places. Again, I mean, we have reactors out there that have been decommissioned or in process of being decommissioned. That doesn't mean they can't reopen. Go through, revamp them, and get them back online. Let's get this power grid up. I'm all for more nuclear power. It's great because it's stable. Once it's loaded, it's continuous power for up to 2 years. It's safe. It's reliable. It's a great industry. I often work with people who are second generation, third generation, working at the same plant. It's a generational job. When you build a plant, you're creating jobs for generations, high quality jobs. It's a fun environment to work into, great people. I can't say enough about it. I absolutely love the industry.
Absolutely. What do you say to the people who see incidents like Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania? What do you say to those people who are very skeptical about nuclear energy? And what are some of the latest and greatest safety measures that have been put in place in regards to nuclear power?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest things that I see, and this is my opinion when it comes to 3 Mile Island, is that proved to us that our containment systems work. There was no danger to the public throughout that entire scenario. And that was a big media hype. It came out the incident happened like 2 weeks after a movie depicting a meltdown came out. Yep. So people were already worried about it. So the media hype surrounding that really made it a horrific incident, and it hurt our nuclear future. A lot of projects that were in the process of being built were stopped because of that. And that really hindered our power grid after that. So in the case of Chernobyl, I mean, that was just a poor design. They did not have a good containment system at all, if any. I mean, it's basically a pole barn, that they put around that reactor. And so we do not build nuclear power plants like that in the United States. Our nuclear power plants are well built, well designed. and we have proven that they contain a meltdown. So it is a very safe and reliable form of energy, and it's nothing that I think anybody should be afraid of. As far as new safety innovations, I mean, the newer power plants and designs that are coming out, they're completely passive designs. So they're able to cool themselves down and run without any human intervention. People step away, it'll cool itself down. So, I mean, that is a brilliant design. And the more and more we learn about it, it just gets better. It's just like a car. You know, we had our Model Ts at the beginning, but now you have Teslas. We're at that point to where we've really understood the technology and we just need to keep building.
Absolutely. Last question on this subject, because I know we could talk about this for hours, and maybe we'll have to have you on the podcast again just about this topic in itself. How far away do you think we are from nuclear fusion happening?
I think, and this is my opinion when it comes to nuclear fusion, we've barely tapped into fission. There's so much we can do with fission. Fusion is a pipe dream. I don't think we should stop, researching it, but I think it's just right now it's a waste of time and energy to start pursuing that when we have so much we can do with fission. And when I say so much we can do with fission, I mean the ability to burn fuels multiple times, the ability to recycle that fuel. We need to go down those avenues and really exhaust everything that we can do with fission because, I mean, it's abundant, all of the different things we can do with fission. Once we've done that, maybe we can look at fusion. We've got so much we can do with fission that I think fusion's just a pipe dream right now.
Fair enough. The only reason I ask that is because allegedly Elon Musk is working on something like that. So I was just curious on what you thought about it. So yes, that's great insight though, and I think you're right. We've just scraped the surface of fission, so I think fusion's quite a bit of ways yet. With that all being said here, I just got one last question for you. So since you are in the military, we ask all the people that come on our show who are in the military, the one big question here, the most important question of them all. What is your favorite and least favorite MRE?
Oh, that's a tough one. Everybody seems to like chili mac. It's a good staple. I really like the Southwest beans and rice. That's really good.
Okay. Yeah.
And my least favorite is all of the vegetarian options. They just, oh. I mean, they got good snacks. Good snacks, but everything else is just, ugh. Can't stand them.
Yeah. Yes. You know what? That's a good point you bring up because I've always said I'm not really a seafood eater. I've been better about it. But like tuna or the chicken chunks, just because it does not look enjoyable. But yeah, if you're getting the vegetarian option, you're just wrong. So I would agree with that.
Yeah. They're absolutely disgusting.
So you're not a fan of the chicken Alfredo one either, or fettuccine Alfredo, excuse me?
No, it doesn't even compare. Like it's just the name they put on something. It's almost like they were like, we don't know what to call this. We'll just throw this name on it. It's flop. That's what it is. Flop in a brown bag.
Yes. You're 100% right. It does not even taste anything like fettuccine.
No.
Anything. All right. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure having you on. We'll definitely have to have you back on here in the near future. We'll make sure to post everything about the wonderful work you're doing and how people can contribute to your wonderful business that you have created. So thank you again for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure. Well, folks, that's all we have in store for today. Join us on Friday as I break down a surprise topic. Share your thoughts on X. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Martin Memo, and subscribe on YouTube. Now, in case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. This is the Martin Memo. Martin Memo.